Okay, hello everybody. We're letting everybody trickle in. Hopefully everybody will come in the next few minutes and we'll get started. In the meantime, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Masai Kusada, working here with the Sake School of America. I'll be moderating this conversation we're having today. Just a few notes before we get started. Just to let you know, we're in a webinar format. So we'll have the chat function operational. So go ahead and log in there and let us know where you're calling in from, where you're connecting from us for. Hopefully we're representing all of our New York boroughs and some New Jersey people, hopefully sharing with us here today. And we also have the Q&A function. We'll be having a conversation at the end of this session with everybody here. So make sure you have all your questions ready, put them in the Q&A section at the bottom here and add those questions, and we'll make sure we'll try to get to everything by the end of this session. So make sure you have all your questions. And we really do want to have it as a dialogue. I realize it's in a webinar format, but we do want to have this conversation with everybody and keep everything flowing. We don't want to just talk at you. We want to talk to you. So let us know what you're thinking, what you guys are up to here. So apologies for that. Okay, so I think we're slowly getting everybody in here. So I'll just give it one more minute and then we'll start the ball rolling. Oh, we have Chicago here. Hi, Sarah. Anyone else from outside of oh, we got Virginia. Oh, Dilla, hey, what's going on? We see a lot of our Sake School people here too. Also, make sure when you're sharing you're going to select a panel, all panelists and attendees, so you can connect with your fellow attendees and make sure everyone can see it, not just us, because we want everybody to be talking here. So make sure you're selecting all panelists and attendees on the drop down there. All right. Oh, we've got Toronto in the house. We do have Jersey also. So welcome, welcome everybody. All right, so I think we'll get going here. So thank you everybody for joining us today at Experience Shochu, Japanese Craft Spirits in America, Classic and Modern. I think everyone joining here today and this topic is really important to us, and it's something we're all passionate about. So even though the world is sort of strange still and we can't connect directly in person, we're all here together, and I hope that we can all chat and enjoy this Monday, snowy Monday for some of us on the East Coast. So well, thank you everybody for being here with us, and thank you all the panelists for joining us today. First, I'd like to introduce Ambassador Yamanouchi-san from the Consulate General of Japan, who made this event possible. So thank you so much. Yamanouchi-san, onegaishimasu.
Thank you very much. I'm very much excited about today's event. I'm so happy to be part of it. And thank you very much for your serious efforts to prepare this Zoom meeting. We miss the meeting in person, but sometimes Zoom has a great advantage because we can overcome the physical distances, geographical distances. Now we're all together with Chicago and the West Coast and things like that. So congratulations to have this great event. And this is an event about the shochu. Shochu can be very traditional, but at the same time, shochu can be very modern and contemporary. And so first of all, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Toshio Ueno-san, that he will be the guest speaker for today's event. And also thank you very much, Rule of Third, a great Japanese restaurant in New York. And thank you very much for preparing shochu and cocktails and food. And as you know, sake is made from rice only. Shochu is different from sake. Shochu is a distilled spirit made from variety of core ingredients, like sweet potatoes, berries, buckwheat, and things like that. So it means a great excitement of the flavors and taste. And most of all, the koji is a very core of the fermentation. Koji is, I'm not the best person to explain what is koji, but the malted rice, and it is a secret of the great taste and the flavor of shochu and sake. And unfortunately, shochu is not as widely known as sake yet, but I do think that there is a great potential for shochu. And I really think the shochu will be booming here in the United States. So all the people here today will be the head of the time of the shochu boom down the road. I do have the three particular reasons why the shochu will become very popular among the American people. The first, the shochu can be enjoyed in a very, very different and many, many ways. Shochu can be, you can drink shochu as it is, but at the same time, you can drink shochu with hot water or on the rocks in many ways. And also shochu can be enjoyed with variety of food, like fried food or grilled food. And so if you go to Japan, so you see shochu everywhere in Japanese restaurants, especially in izakaya. But I really think the American people can enjoy shochu in many ways, and at home or at restaurant. And second reason is Japanese people really love shochu. I'm not saying this not because I'm diplomat, but because I'm a Japanese person, and I mean it. People really love it. And not only the ordinary people and experts, but also the government also support this one. So one good example is the Prime Minister Suga made it very clear that Japan is now proposing becoming the UNESCO's World Intangible Cultural Heritage. We're seeking for the recognition in 2024. So much so, the Japanese people, entire Japanese people, both private sectors and public sectors are serious about it. And third reason is, this is very interesting, the development of shochu. After the very serious negotiations between Japanese government and American government, and now it's more sort of streamlined regulations affected to the shochu. So now you can enjoy bigger bottle with better quality. So there's a great opportunity for American people to enjoy shochu as the Japanese people like it. So, and finally, let me add a little personal note. As you know, shochu is widely produced in Kyushu area, that is southern part of Japan. I myself is from Kyushu. I'm from Nagasaki. And Kyushu is known as a great production of the shochu. So I'm not just a Japanese person. I'm a person who are from that shochu area. So please trust me. So this is Monday, and this is in New York time. It's only 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but I prepare these bottles and it has a good food. So I really hope all of you enjoy this program so that you can learn the Japanese culture and the secret of the great flavor. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Yamanuchi-san. We didn't realize you were a biased opinion, but we're so excited to everybody to be here. Next, I'd like to introduce Kentaro Tsushima-san of Canvas Creative Group, who is part of organizing this event today. Tsushima-san.
Hello, everybody. How are you? Nice to see all of you through Zoom. Thank you so much for coming to this seminar today. I'm really very honored to have this event today. I just wanted to share briefly today with you about how shochu has come so far to be able to hold this event. So let me just this is out of my story. 8 years ago, I had an opportunity to talk to a distiller and having a small shochu event at one of our Manhattan store. And the reply I got was, back then 8 years ago, shochu is not well known enough, so that, rather than having a event only with the shochu, she wanted to have a event having with a sake. So, that was only 8 years ago. So now after 8 years, I'm thrilled and to be honored to have this shochu event. I think, shochu has come so far to be able to host this event. And I wanted to show you a little bit of what is happening here in the United States. So in 2021, there is such thing called as a Shochu Month. This is run by Consulate General of Los Angeles. You can see there's a Japanese craft spirits month. So, and also JETRO, the Japanese major research entity, has posted this website, Discover Shochu, so that many of the Japanese entity and Japanese government are working very hard to promote the shochu. And as I've been in the industry for over 15 years, I was always talking about having this type of a promotion. And at 2021, I'm very happy to be able to have such a promotion at this point. And one more thing, as Mr. Ambassador Yamanouchi mentioned about the standard fill easing by a TTB, I wanted to explain a little bit more about it. So until December 28th of 2020, there are only 7 sizes of shochu bottles were able to be sold in the United States. However, from December 29th, this red 720, 1.8 liters, 900 and 700 is added to be able to be sold in the United States. So, and 720 and 1.8 liters is a standard size shochu bottle in Japan. So until then, distillers needed to invest in 750 ml bottles and manufacture line just for the US market. But now they'll be able to utilize the bottles that is sold in Japan, which creates more opportunity and the buzz for the shochu. So I would say that Japanese sake boom started early in 2000 in the United States. And I believe that with all of us here, this 2020 would be a great new start for shochu to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tsunoshima-san, for bringing us all together here today. Next, I wanted to introduce Toshio Ueno-san, who is the director of Sake School of America. He's going to give us a little bit of a rundown about shochu. Ueno-san.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Can I share the screen there?
Yep, please.
Hi, everyone. Toshio Ueno is my name. I'm from Sake School of America and also representing a mutual trading company. And I'm so excited, delighted, and also honored to be here representing his Shochu Seminar here. Let's start. So many of you know, Japan is located near, it's a small island next to China, and looks like that here. And our climate is mostly temperate, it's a very moderate climate with a wider temperature range. And however, it is affected by a continent with China. So, especially in winter time, that wind comes from China to Japan. So we get really cold. We have 4 seasons. And we, in the southern part of Japan, is more subtropical and to tropical, right there. And we will talk about that a little bit more in the Kyushu area. And we have, lots of islands, 6,852 islands. And our population is number 11 in the world right now, but it's decreasing. And as some of you know, we closed our door during this 1603 to 1854 for a long, long time. And actually, US was the one, America was the one who came to Japan and asked, told them to open up the door for the foreign country. And we had a prohibition of meat during this period, about 1,200 years. We are not allowed to eat meat. Here, you're a little bit closer map of Japan. We have lots of raining, 58 inch of raining. And shochu, not brewery, I should have put the distilleries. And we have over 400 distilleries in Japan. Most of them are in this part. Kyushu and Okinawa cover 75%. And I'm glad that Consul General was from Kyushu too. Yay, shochu, let's go. And distillation method was embedded in Mesopotamia, current day of Iraq, and one went to west and one went to east. And in Scotch whiskey was, was about was introduced or developed in the early 16th century. For Japan, was about same time. There are so many the routes that we believe the shochu came to Kyushu, but most scientific historian proof that it's coming from Thailand. That's the reason why we're going to be talking about awamori is made with Thai rice, and we have a lots of trade. As you can see, in the 15th century, we have a lots of the sake come from different regions, and soju, and some of them are coming from Thailand, some of them coming from China and stuff. And then only text existing in Japan was found in 1954 in the wooden piece beneath the roof of Koriyama Hachiman Shrine. And it says two brothers. It was two brothers was renovating this, building this shrine, and they are complaining that monk was so stingy he did not offer us any shochu. And it was written in 1559, August 21st. It was a graffiti. They put it on this board to complain about the monk they worked for. So many people ask me, what is shochu, Toshio? And I tell them, sake, correct? And sake is brewed alcohol. And if you distill sake, it becomes shochu. And that was an easy analogy that I could use. Like beer, if you distill beer, it becomes whiskey. And if you distill wine juice, it becomes brandy, right? But the biggest difference between other countries' drinks is both of them, sake and shochu, use koji. Western world use malt. We'll be talking about the malt later on, but koji we need it because the grain doesn't have any sugar. The starch needs to be converted to sugar so that the yeast can eat them and start fermenting and produce alcohol. So that is this. Grape has a sugar, yeast, eat them and make wine. And sake or shochu, you have rice, and koji will produce enzyme to convert the starch to sugar, saccharify it. And at the same time, you eat those sugary liquid and you have sake, shochu, and almond. What's unique about shochu? Japanese people use koji to make soy sauce, miso, sake, shochu, and vinegar. So it's really, fundamental ingredients or ingredients to Japanese food sources. Yes, and it's craftsmanship too. It's very difficult to do single pot distillation, and distill only once. You might know whiskey and brandy is distilled more than twice. And most of the distilled spirits are distilled more than twice. So only I know in the world making spirits distilling only once and retaining original flavor of ingredients. Why is it possible? We're using koji making the mash. Comparing it to whiskey and brandy, their alcohol contents before distillation is around 8% to 10%. But shochu's mash is much, much higher. It can be 21. Usually it's like 16 to 18%, which is much, much higher than the other spirits mash. So when you distill them, you don't have to distill so much, and you can retain those flavors without damaging them. Of course, some people says, those flavors are too much, but that's how we enjoy our spirits. And Consul General said, you can drink in a different way, hot, cold, cocktail. And these are the koji microbe we use for making sake and shochu. These black koji and white koji is mainly used for shochu. Yellow koji is used for sake, miso, and soy sauce. However, you still can use yellow koji for making shochu. In fact, before black koji was introduced to Kyushu, shochu made in Kyushu was made with yellow koji. Oops, that's going too quick. Yeah, so, and yeah, after black koji was introduced to Kyushu, that black koji became more popular, and white koji was discovered by Dr. Kawachi and become popular. 90% of the shochu is made, I think, with white koji now. However, so koji making. So these are the powder you buy from the koji maker, and you put in the steamed rice and mix them and start producing enzyme like this. And these are the spore, looks like that. And how you make them, these are the little bit more like traditional or smaller maker handmade koji. We call sankakudana. And you put the steamed rice in here and put the koji mold and mix them and you make the koji. Or these are more modern type. You have this drum, you put the rice, and this one can do steaming too. Steaming, making koji. And these are the much larger spiral conveyor belt koji machine. What does koji does exactly? So grain or any vegetable or fruits needs a sugar to survive. Sugar is energy. For grape, they put the sugar into the fruits and sugar itself. But for the grain, you put the sugar in a net of proteins net. Covering those sugar combined together, you have a chain of sugar, and you have to, that's too large for yeast to consume. So you have to cut those chains to smaller pieces so that the koji can, the yeast can eat them. Before I showed you a little bit more easier, simplified form of alcohol fermentation, but these are actual thing. And you have to know the biggest difference between other drinks are saccharification, meaning converting starch to sugar, and liquefaction, and also alcohol fermentation. It's all in sake and shochu making. It's all happening in the same tank at the same time. So we call them multiple parallel fermentation. Comparing to the other drinks, so alcohol like beer, its alcohol fermentation is just happening here. Also, although those malting, when you put the barley into the humidity condition, it will germinate, and the malt we making malt, right? And inside of that, this malt produce an enzyme to do a conversion of starch to sugar, but it's in a separate ways. So that's that. And then after making koji, you put the koji in the tank, yeast and water, start fermenting, and sugar is eaten by yeast and produce ethanol and CO2. Looks like this. And it, as I'm showing you, it's happening, everything happening in the same tank at the same time. So we call, as I said, multiple parallel fermentation. This can produce a higher alcohol level than any other alcohol beverage. It can go, even though more than 22%. I mean, it's for sake, 21% is maximum amount, but it can go up if you are not making sake, okay? So that's very high. And from that, if you distill them, you don't have to distill so hard. So koji, breaking the starch to sugar. And also the difference between sake and shochu koji is the shochu koji produce more acid, especially citric acid. You know, Kyushu and Okinawa is very warm and humid. If you don't have this high level of acid, you know, bacteria can spoil the mash. So the acidic level provide that good environment for yeast, but not for bacteria. Okay, bacteria cannot survive in citric high acidic level conditions. Well, this is too geeky, but you know, some people are here for the people from professional fields. So you have koji. Koji is very unique. It's a Japanese natural fungi converting starch to glucose, sugar. That's enzyme using fuel enzyme. And protein will be digested by this another enzyme, protease, carboxy peptide would have amino acid, and you have lipids and fat become fatty acid, and then they produce this stuff. Ethanol, CO2, and some of them produce citric acid, and some of them has produce smells, aroma, like apple smells, and then they produce alcohol here, and some fatty acid reaction with isomeryl alcohol produce isomeryl acetate, which smells like bananas. All this happening in one tank. Amazing, isn't it? So, and then one of the things I should mention here is another thing is the steaming. You know, rice has a grain, has a starch. Starch has, two proteins structure with a glucose. Amylopectin is the one, the other one is amylose. And sake rice has a high amylopectin than indica rice. And mochi rice has a more amylopectin. Amylopectin will have more gelatinized structure, and it will absorb more water. Okay, if it's hot in the summertime, this amylopectin's stems go longer, and it will be hard to melt down. So sake maker or shochu maker will have a hard time melting down those grains. But anyway, so you make basically it's the same process as sake. You make you have a rice, wash it, steam it, and then make a koji, and then put the koji with water and yeast and ferment together. And then you have we call main ingredient. If you're making sweet potato shochu, you have a potato, wash them and cut them, select them, and steam it and put it together and ferment, distill. That's it. And however, another things that I should mention, that when we talk about shochu here is, honkaku shochu, authentic shochu. Some of the shochu is made in the multiple distillation, but today we are only talking about the single distillation ones. And the alcohol contents can go up to 45%. And those single pot still has two types. These are normal pressure or atmospheric distillation. Boiling temperature of water is 100 degrees. However, for vacuum or less pressure inside is you can boil the alcohol water is a lower temperature. That means that it doesn't damage the mash, or the lighter compounds will evaporate and heavier ones stays in here. So you have much more cleaner, lighter flavors and texture of the spirits coming out in this one. But it's your preference. You like more complex, richer type, or you like more fruity, lighter type. That shows that. So these heavier component can go up in atmospheric, but not in this vacuum ones, only the lighter ones go through and collected as a distillate. Well, let's talk about Kyushu. So there's a 4GI, geographical indication in shochu, and one of them are Kuma shochu from Kumamoto regions with rice, and Ikishochu with mugi, I mean barley, in Nagasaki regions. And then you have sweet potato shochu from Kagoshima, and then you have awamori from Okinawa. Those are the GI from what recognized by and registered by World Trade Organization. And then here's those different types. Rice shochu, usually in generalization, it's light to medium body, and it has a steam rice cereal to elegant aroma and soft rounded mouthfeel, light to complex flavor, mainly from Kumamoto regions. And mugi shochu, roasted barley to floral fruity aroma, distinct with a little well-rounded sweet potato flavor of barley. And as I say, Iki and also Oita regions is very famous. And sweet potato, it has a mellow, rich flavor and a well-rounded natural sweetness, most like roasted sweet potato. And it's coming from this region, Kagoshima regions, is very famous for that. And Kokuto shochu, brown sugar shochu. If you don't use koji malt, it becomes a rum. So it's very similar to rum. It's as a dry type, despite its sweet flavor and aroma. It's coming from this Amami Oshima. People has mistakenly say, oh, this is not Kagoshima, this is Okinawa, but this belongs to Kagoshima regions. And then the other one is very unique one, is buckwheat. You know soba noodle, right? And those buckwheat looks like this. Of course, you have to polish them. And then it's coming from very famous in Miyazaki. And also in the mainland, Nagano is very famous for that too. It has a mellow, rich flavor and well-rounded, toasty, nutty, complex. And some of them are a little bit more rich and roasted notes, but this soba shochu from Towari is much mellow ones. And then lastly, Okinawa Aomori. It depends. It has a generation here, but it has a lot of rice grain flavor. Some of them light, and some of them are a little bit more richer, rounded mouthfeel, and then simple to complex. And it's coming from Okinawa regions. Aomori is a little bit different than other shochu because Aomori is made with all koji, meaning using koji rice only. And the other one, you have mainly made with koji rice, and you have a secondary ingredients like sweet potato, barleys, and ferment and distill. And another thing I should mention is that this is our Mori district. It has much wider surface area and shorter neck. What does it mean? So let's talk about this. If it's shorter, it has more going up and coming down because we call reflux, more reflux. Shorter one doesn't have so much because it go up and comes down really quickly. But if it has a longer neck, some of that distillate or some of that gas can become a liquid and comes down. So you have more reflux, meaning these distillates would be much lighter. Comparing to this one would be much richer and more flavorful. Okay. And Aomori has some unique compounds, organic compounds like, you know, 4-vinyl guaiacol. In sake, this is not good thing. This is smoky ones. But if you age this one and oxidate and become vanillin. And this 1-octanol 3-enol is famous for mushroom smell. Yeah, mushroom. And black koji produce more of these compounds than any other, not like yellow koji or white koji. And for Amori, they age them, and they age like a sherry, a Solera system. So you take up from the old one, you have to put it, the take out amount from the second oldest one. So it continues and, have a constant age character to it, okay? They used to have like 100 years old age Amori before, but after the war, most of them destroyed. So you see about 40, 30 years old one, if you're lucky enough. And when you age amami, especially Amori, you have this vanillin, as I said. Vanillin smells like ice cream, right? And some of them have this, we call soloton, coming from, carbohydrate derived flavor molecule by aging it, oxidation between sugar and amino acid. Tastes like, smells like, and tastes like caramel and maple syrup. And some of that shochu or amori has oiliness on mouthfeel. It's coming from this, compounds here. So this is the flavor profile. So some of them have, some of the shochu and amori has this fruity floral aroma. Some of them has the cereal mushrooms. Some of them have vanillas and caramel and soy sauce, nutty. Some of them has aged one has vanilla and caramels. On the mouthfeel side, some of them more has oiliness, viscosity to it. So you see that when you taste them. So how to drink it? My way, I like shochu with water. I usually do like this one, 6 and 4, a little bit stronger side. I mean, it's up to the alcohol contents of the shochu, but that's how I like. Actually, I put the cold water into it. And then here you have to be careful. So you put hot water first, then put the shochu next, okay? Always. Because, boiling temperature of water is 100 degrees. Alcohol boiling temperature is 78.3. So if you put the shochu first and put the boiling water, you will damage the shochu. So you don't want to do that. So you put that hot water in here, even though it's 100, if you put it in a glass, the temperature will go down quickly to around 80 degrees. So you don't have to damage the shochu, okay? Make sure you do that. And another way to have warm or hot sake, hot shochu, is that you use this choka or kuro choka. You put shochu and water, marry it together night before, and then you put those mixed shochu into this and warm it up over the heat. Okay, that's the way. And also, cocktail. You can use many cocktail, unique crafted cocktail from unique flavored shochu like buckwheat, awamori, barley, sweet potato. And, right now, a low alcohol cocktail is becoming popular. So it's a good thing that the shochu is not so high in alcohol contents. And then you guys are going to be talking about food pairings. It doesn't have to be Japanese food, guys. Pizza, lasagna, steak, those things you can pair with so many different types of shochu and enjoy that way. And it's also healthy too. Doesn't have any sugar. And that shochu is good for blood circulation. Shochu has a special enzyme called urokinase, melt down blood clot. Actually, shochu does not have the enzyme. Shochu will activate that enzyme called urokinase, which melt down the blood clot. That's all. I hope I did go over a little bit. Sorry, guys. Thank you.
It's okay, Ueno-san. Everyone enjoyed that. Thank you so much. Spoken like not just an educator, but a true fan of shochu. So that's why we appreciate having you with us today, Ueno-san.
Yeah, I drink more shochu than anything else.
So sake school, but shochu fan over there. So
shouldn't say that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ueno-san.
Secret.
Now we have, we're also joined by my friend here, Maxwell Lear, from who is a Main Street market specialist from New York Mutual Trading. Maxwell?
Hey, Masai, thank you so much. I'm gonna share my screen. So it's so thrilling that there are so many talented and creative professionals that are on this call today. The webinar format's a bit strange, so we can't talk to each other, but hi from Vermont. And this is so exciting and so fun to be able to get so many people together to eat and drink and talk about shochu. And I'm gonna take just a few seconds and talk about sustainability in shochu, which I'll refer to as the Junmai spirits of Kyushu, Japan. Thanks again to the Consulate General Japan, Yamanouchi-san, for sponsoring this event, and thank you, Ueno, for this great seminar. So sustainability in shochu, to me, is a very dynamic definition, because obviously, for those of us who work in the business, this is one of the hardest hand sells in the spirits market. It's very, very difficult to sell shochu now, and we're hoping to change that, but for now it is. And so sustainability really means not just the farmers that grow the plants in Kyushu, the brands that are going to present their products in a moment in Kyushu, Japan, who make the shochu, but it's also the importer distributors such as myself and our company that sell to people like Rule of Thirds, who are going to present their food pairings in just a moment. And then the consumers that come to pay for that experience and then walk away going, wow, shochu in food, holy cow, this stuff is really good. So yeah, it's obviously a long journey from Japan to the East Coast. And then, to get it to Rule of Thirds takes about 7,000 miles of transit. And it's, arguably insane that the last 10 feet from, say, the bar to the table are the most difficult distances to move the product, because again, this is a hand sell. Onto what makes shochu so sustainable. Coming from a background in natural wine, these spirits thrill me because they're locally grown plants, as Ueno-san showed you in terms of regional specification, whether it's for rice, barley, potatoes, or sugarcane, but grown in Kyushu. There's koji saccharification or pure malting, which Ueno-san very deeply discussed. There's also the shikomi mizu, or the pure local water that's used to make these products, to which the distilleries are attached. This water is really the lifeblood of shochu. And in fact, because there's so much rainfall in Kyushu, which again, Ueno-san spoke on, this spirit category is essentially a celebration of fresh water. And I think that's a really important thing to talk about as well. And then again, because we're talking about only honkaku shochu today, this is a no additive and once distilled spirit. And basically it's a Junmai spirit. The way we talk about Junmai sake is no additive as rice, water, koji. That's what these spirits are to shochu. And as Ueno-san already pointed out, the regionalism specifically about barley versus rice versus imo and buckwheat, I'll skip this section and jump straight to talking about how these spirits embody a field-to-tank philosophy. And this is an example in Kagoshima, where Satsuma Shuzo's imo fields are directly next to the distillery, right next to the ocean. Here's a photo of Kogane Sengen. There are over 3,000 varieties of potato in the world, but there are 70 that are used for imo shochu production. And Kogane Sengen is sort of like the Chardonnay or the Pinot Noir, if you will. It's a very noble variety of sweet potato, here pictured at Komaki Shuzo in Kagoshima. So just quickly going over the methods, the Moromi, the mother match, Ichi Shikomi, this is made of rice. At the end of this mash, they will introduce the potatoes. This is Niji Shikomi. You can see the difference between the rice color and the potato color here. And that's before we get into koji, which is the most fascinating part about all this. I guess I'll stop for a second and just point out that for the wine geeks out there who talk about Georgian wine, dating to 5500 before Common Era, where the ancestry of all wine started, These kame, which are the vessels for creating the ichishikomi, are buried in the earth so that they don't have to pay for electricity and or waste energy. So it's a very natural, sustainable way of cooling the vessels to control the temperature for fermentation of the first mash and the second mash. Seen here is shiro koji. Ueno-san mentioned the 3 kojis. Essentially, what we're dealing with here is a very faint aroma, very slight aroma from shiro koji or Aspergillus kawachi, not super boisterous. Yellow koji or Aspergillus oryzae, on the other hand, is incredibly aromatic. It's like Gewürztraminer or lychee. It's tropical, it's pineapple-y, it's super aromatic in the mash. Lastly, there's Aspergillus awamori or kuro koji, black koji. In this instance, what you would smell is more like cinnamon and licorice and anise and kind of deeper, darker, earthier spices, as would be suggestive of the color alone. Just to talk about sustainability and the pureness of these spirits, seen here is Beni Imo or purple Satsuma potato shochu in the second mash. There's no filter to this image. That's just how purple it looks. And that's just a direct translation of the plant from the ground and into the tank. Again, Ueno-san mentioned this, but it's really important to talk about, fast commodity production spirits versus shochu and honkaku shochu. This category spends a lot of time resting in these terracotta pots at the distillery, in this instance for over 2 years. So just to mellow out the flavors of these really rash and natural potato esters. Lastly, I just wanted to show a photo of this bottle because it kind of sums up to me sort of when you think about field blends in wine. This is an example of a 17 sweet potato variety shochu made in Kagoshima. I'll stop sharing and move on. I can't wait for Rule of Thirds to share and the brands to share all of their cool products. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you, Maxwell. I think you guys, everybody watching may have noticed we have a lot of guests here today with us. Before I get to introducing all of them, if you are one of the lucky people who have received a care package from us, I suggest you grab your cocktails out of the refrigerator so we can bring them to proper temperature. We'll get going in just a little bit, but I do want to introduce all these amazing guests that we have who have joined us from ungodly hours in Japan, who have joined us here today. So I would like to start by introducing Takahashi Shuzo. We have with us today, they're the producers of the Hakutake Shiro that we'll get into. We're joined by the Senior Director, Hiroe Takahashi, and the Overseas Sales Representative, Dekita Akimi-san. I'll pass it on to you guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Akimi. Thank you for having us here. I'm a sales representative at Takahashi Shuzo. Actually, I only started working in this position six months ago. So this is the first time for me to be in a webinar. I'm so excited. I will do my best. Okay. Takahashi Shuzo was established in 1900. Since then, we have continued producing light shochu for 121 years in the Kuma region, which is located in the southwest of Kumamoto Prefecture on Kyushu Island in Japan. The area is surrounded by steep mountains that the Kuma River flows through, which is one of Japan's 3 fastest rivers. Because of its fluctuating climate and clear water, the region has been known for its high-quality rice for a long time. Last summer, unfortunately, after torrential rain hit the region, the Kuma River flooded. There are not many primary sources remaining regarding exactly when people first began drinking shochu in Japan, so we don't know for sure. However, it's estimated that people have been enjoying shochu for 500 years. Do you know shochu is light shochu is the oldest in all types of shochu. Other kind include sweet potato, berry, brown sugar. The oldest remaining record of shochu in Japan was discovered in our area. Our light shochu, Hakutake Shiro, is made made using a reduced pressure distillation method. While maintaining the rich aroma of rice, it successfully gave a mild, smooth, easy to drink finish. With its mild rice flavor, it is said that rice shochu is good for using a cocktail base compared to other types of shochu. How do you like tonight's cocktail, peppermint with hakutake shiro? I wish I could try it. Thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you, Dekita-san. Thank you. Everyone's looking forward to trying them. Yeah, and we'll make sure everybody's following on Instagram. I'll bring those back up at the end, but yes, please follow Hakutake Shiro Global on Instagram, everybody. And then next we have from Manzen Shuzo, the Senior Director, Hiroyuki Manzen.
はじめまして、私は、鹿児島県の万全酒造の万全博之と申します。鶴柴さん、通訳をお願いしてもよろしいですか？
Hi, everybody. I'll do the translation. Hi, my name is Hiroyuki Manzen from Kagoshima, Manzen Shuzo.
私たちは150年ぐらい前からですね、芋焼酎を製造しておりまして、画像が、ありますか？
今やりますね。
いいですか？よろしいですかね。
So we've been distilling Imo Shochu for about 150 years.
このような山の中でですね、全部で5人の従業員と一緒に芋焼酎の製造をしておりまして、少量で手作りで少しずつ製造しております。
You can see that our distiller is in the region of the mountainous area, and we have about 5 employees. We're making a small batch with an artisan and a crafted shochu.
万全の、意味はですね、万というのが日本でたくさんとか多いという意味がありまして、善というのが、食事、食事を楽しむということがあります。私たちはこの万全というものをテーマにして、食を潤す、ことを一番大切なこととして、焼酎製造をしております。
Okay, the name Manzen means many or 10,000 in Japanese, so it stands for many, and Zen typically means food or the cuisine. So in this Kagoshima area, we are producing Manzen.
はい。次の、木だる蒸留機の画像をいいですかね。私たちはですね、この木だる蒸留機を、使って、蒸留をするのですが、やっぱりこの木だる蒸留機から生み出される、バニラだったり、チョコレート、また、たくさんのふくよかな、味わいがこの木だる蒸留機から出てくるので、大事に使っていきたいなと思っております。
So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a secret of our this Manzen. So the picture that you're seeing is a wooden barrel distilling apparatus. So this wooden distilling apparatus will bring the vanilla and note of vanilla and the chocolate. And we've been using this since the inception of a Manzen.
それとこの蒸留機を作る、職人さんも、日本というか、この鹿児島で一人しか、いませんので、そこの伝統的な道具、を大事に、これからしっかりと次の世代につなげていけるように、これから取り組みも開始していきたいなと思っております。
Actually, there's only one artisan craftsman that is able to build this wooden distilling apparatus. So we would like to continue this heritage for our future.
今日のムール貝の、佃煮はすごい面白い発想だと思っておりまして、貝とかホタテとかなどもすごい私たちのうまみの強い、 味わいにも寄り添うと思いますので、ぜひペアリングを楽しんでいただければなと思っております。
I think today's the food pairing with the mussel is a very, very unique and interesting. Our shochu goes well with like scallop and other mussels too. So I hope you enjoy this today's food package.
今はまだなかなか行き来できる、状態ではないんですけれども、またいつか、現地に、お越しいただいて、蔵の空気だったり、製造している雰囲気も感じていただければなと思っております。ありがとうございます。
So currently, as you know, we're not able to travel each other, but I look forward to having you at Manzen and see the distilleries itself and feel this mountainous distilling here. And we look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think everyone's looking forward to getting in and traveling and being with each other soon. So also don't forget, guys, that we're going to have a Q&A. So if you have any questions for these folks from our distillers, please make sure you hang out. Let us know if any questions you have if you've been dying to ask them. So next up, we have from Ichigo USA, we have sales manager Masato Aso-san. Mute してます。
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Again, so my name is Masato Aso from Sanwa Shurui, and now I'm currently living in the San Francisco to introduce not only our product Ichigo, as well as shochu as a whole, as a Japanese culture. So that today I have a small presentation regarding our product. So let's do it. And by the way, so what Ichigo does Ichigo mean is it's good in English. It's very easy to memorize, isn't it? And yeah, so this is our history of the company. And our company is established in 1958. And our distillery isn't located in USA. It's called Usa City in Oita Prefecture. And by the way, this is the sign of the Usa station. It looks very similar to like a national flag of United States. And also, he is not like the U.S. National baseball player. He's just a USA high school baseball player. This is kind of a joke. But Oita is well known as one of the central areas of shochu production, as Ueno-san mentioned that. And these photos are our surroundings of our distillery. And since a long time ago, there are many barley fields. So we obviously decided to use barley as our shochu's ingredients. And yeah, so this is the first version of our brand Ichigo, which was released in 1979. Now we have a wide variety of Ichigo like this and about 30 types. Unfortunately, only a few are available in the United States now, but I hope we can export more near future. And I believe you got an Ichigo Frasco today, so let me explain a little bit about it. Ichigo Frasco is made from 100% of barley koji, which gives shochu more powerful flavor, basically. And it has 60 proof, and which is relatively higher alcohol content than other shochu. That regular shochu has 50 proof. And this is a tasting note of Ichigo Frasco, and it's mentioning that there is like a fruity flavor like lychee notes and ripe cantaloupe and a hint of banana, as well as on the palate, you may feel like a yellow pear, lemon, or cucumber, and on the finish, you will feel like a white pepper. And just in case, let me try shochu right now. So I think this tasting note is 100% correct. So you can feel this taste today. So, and I think that's about it of my presentation. So thank you for having me today. And I hope you can enjoy not only shochu, ichigo, as well as shochu, and the pairing with beautiful dishes. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you so much. No fair, you're drinking already without us. And our last spirit representative here, Beni Otome, Sales Manager, Minoru Miyazaki-san.
どうもはじめまして、ベニオトメ酒造山崎でございます。
Hi, I'm going to translate again. Hi, nice to meet you all. My name is Minoru Yamazaki from Beni Otome Shuzo.
ベニオトメ酒造は九州の福岡に、あります。
We're located in Fukuoka Prefecture in Kyushu.
うちのですね、ベニオトメ酒造は、ブランデーやウイスキーのようにですね、に負けない、香り高い日本の蒸留酒を作りたいというですね、のを夢見ました。創業者の林田春野が、40年前に起業をしました。
So our distiller is started 40 years ago by Mr. Hashida. So our intention was wanted to make a shochu that is comparable and more aromatic and high note compared to whiskey and brandy.
彼女は、米や芋、麦ですね、さまざまな原料を試して、試行錯誤をしながら、焼酎作りを、いたしました。
So Ms. Hashida tried rice, barley, and imo to make what she wants.
でですね、いろいろ試行錯誤をしながら、試しをですね、焼酎作りをしたんですけども、最後に巡り合ったのが、ごまでございました。
So after many years and many challenges, what she encountered was a goma or the sesame as the ingredient.
ごまの風味をですね、焼酎作りにぜひ生かしたいということで、ごまもですね、非常に扱うのが最初難しかった、ようです。
So, and then when she met the sesame, she realized, oh, this is what I want to make. But at the beginning, it was hard to have this aromatic goma shochu.
で、ごまはですね、最初に作った時は非常に美味しくなかったんですけども、2、3年ですね、置いておったら非常に美味しくなったと。で、そこで林田春野はですね、蒸留酒は、長く寝かせるほど美味しくなるというものをですね、ごま焼酎にも、当てはまるということが分かりました。
So the first batch that she distilled was not what she was planning. So she kept it and for about 2 to 3 years. And after 2 to 3 years of aging, the aromatic sesame flavor and note was apparent. And that's what she was looking for.
で、1978年ですね、ごま焼酎を、誕生させまして、この時ですね、世界で初めて、ごまを原料に使った蒸留酒、ごま焼酎紅乙女が、誕生をしました。
And then in 1978, first goma shochu was distilled, and this was the first distilled spirits made with sesame in the world.
このですね、ごま焼酎が出来上がりまして40年以上になるんですけども、創業者の林田春野の思いをですね、引き継ぎながら、日夜ごま焼酎を、頑張って作っております。
So it's been over 40 years now that we've been distilling this sesame shochu, but we are inheriting and passing all the spirit of Ms. Haruno Hayashida.
ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yes, for anyone who hasn't tried the Benyotomi, it's sort of mind-blowing stuff. So as soon as you can try it, it's as interesting as you can imagine. So definitely recommend that. All right, so last but not least, what we've all been waiting for. I am so excited to introduce some very special folks, a team of people who have been real champions of shochu, sake, Japanese spirits. There's really no one or no restaurant like them, and no one else does what they do. So we're so happy to have the team from Rule of Thirds in Brooklyn with us. We have George Padilla, JT Vuong, and Brian Evans with us. Thank you so much, guys.
Hi there. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. And it's really an honor to be part of this event. So thank you for Ambassador Yamanuchi for putting this on, and Ken and the Canvas team, Mutual, and all the distillers that provided us with some of our favorite shochus today. I'll start off before handing off to Brian and JT, my partners here, who will present the food and the cocktails and kind of their philosophy of approaching shochu and here at the restaurant. But I just wanted to introduce the restaurant. First, we're pretty new. I still consider us brand new. We opened in February. Actually, today's our 1-year anniversary. We opened February 22nd,
Congrats,
2020.
amazing.
Thank you. And the name of the restaurant is Rule of Thirds, which a lot of people are curious where it comes from. And I always pull out my phone to demonstrate. I don't know if you can see, but there's the grid lines, those thirds that divide up your frame in photography is a concept of finding the most compelling and interesting balance just a little bit off center where those lines intersect. And so for us here at Rule of Thirds, it's really about the intersection of different ideas and different influences coming together and creating something from what we really admire. So let me see, I'll show you our dining room real quick. Apologies, we're not open today, so things are a little bit out of place, but hopefully we'll have a chance to welcome you all here someday. We're gonna be presenting from outdoors actually, since we're in the middle of a pandemic and outdoor dining has been the norm lately. We created these 4 winter village rooms to facilitate safe and comfortable outdoor dining, and I'll pass it off to my partners now.
Hey guys, JT. Gonna explain the food to you guys. I think we prepared 4 different dishes, each to go with different sake and each different philosophies behind each dish. So if you guys would like to start with the, at home you guys have the square container. To orient it, the rice should be at the bottom left corner. The top half is the first dish. And the philosophy behind this is kind of show different, or show shochu in different ways. All the stuff here is cooked very gently, if cooked at all, and to kind of be more, show a bit more beauty behind it. We have monkfish poached in mussel stock, karashi nuta, which is like a miso mustard sauce, fresh wakame and nori, blanched rocky rob. And then the one outlier I have is grilled scallions. It provides a third point to both the dish and the sake as like a good contrast. And even though this dish is very Asian and Japanese leaning, there's a lot of aspects that can be easily changed and adjusted to kind of work with more Western style dishes. Second one, we have more like otsumami. This kind of represents a different approach to kind of serving sake. Instead of having a full dish, this is more of a drinking culture. Predominantly, this style of drinking culture, gastropub, is more Asian and certain parts of Europe. For instance, a lot of people have different conservas. And then today we have mussels that have been both smoked and then marinated in a mixture of soy, sake, mirin, and assorted different pickles. These are much more savory bites, a bit more intense, to kind of pair with a little bit heftier imo sochu. And then moving on, we have essentially a Wagyu Nikujaga, westernized much more, even though originally it was a Western dish. Most cultures have some sort of like meat or beef and potatoes dish. And I feel like serving something like this is very, not just comforting, but every culture can relate back to it. This cut is the culat or picanha. It's part of the sirloin. There's a lot of fat on top, which kind of soaks a nice marinade. Meat itself is a bit lean, and then grilled over pinchotan. Roasted potatoes, braised carrots, braised onions, and then a sauce made of black garlic, as well as Worcestershire. And then a cured egg yolk. So it is a very rich and hearty dish, but this is to contrast the first dish with the monkfish to show that shochu also pairs very nicely with something much more, a bit bolder. And then finally, one that we're playing a little bit differently with is the salad, which is served with the beniotome. The first 3 rounds are more traditional style of pairings. They're more complementary and more classic in nature. A lot of people I'll say this, so you don't see a lot of people drinking and also eating salads. We decided to go with a winter chicory salad because it is winter. Everything's a bit more bitter, really good for your health. Stressed with hot honey, as well as yuzu vinaigrette, some buckwheat for texture, grapefruit. And there's also a bonito on top that we kind of reused after we made dashi. And as all the dishes, I initially wanted to kind of serve an element that the shochu was made of, but then I realized it's actually more interesting to not actually have that component. So normally in the salad, we would actually have sesame seeds, but I think if we take them off, it kind of helps the shochu show a lot more as well. And it may seem weird or not exactly be the most complimentary thing, but I think the contrasting points are also very important. And I kind of want to open up a whole dialogue about what things work, why different things don't work. And honestly, a lot of food is subjective, so please enjoy and play around.
I hope everybody's drinking and eating as we're going along here, so please don't be shy.
Yeah, please. This is meant to be fun. I hope you're joining along with us. So, hey, my name is Brian Evans. I am the director of bars and partner for Rule of Thirds and Sunday Hospitality Group, and I'm very honored to be a part of this shochu experience. Special shout out to Taiko and Jesse from Mizu Shochu. They really kind of enlightened me towards the whole category as a whole. And from there on, I just went on a deep dive into the entire category, and I realized that there is really something for every type of drinker within the shochu category. Whether you're a whiskey drinker, there's barrel-aged Genshu expressions that are wonderful, as well as like roasted barley shochus that go well in Manhattan variations. And even if you are a gin or vodka drinker, there's some light and elegant styles that are floral, fruity, or botanical that may be attractive to them. So for this experience, we wanted to choose 4 different shochus made up of very distinct and different raw material and apply them into 4 different types of cocktails. Cocktail styles that are very identifiable to the common palate, but kind of show how shochu can kind of add to the category as a whole within those cocktails. So let's get started. Hopefully you have 4 sample bottles of shochu, the different shochu, and then 4 different cocktails. 3 of them are in bottles that are 2 servings each, and then 1 cocktail is in a can. And it would be very encouraged to have some ice ready and glassware, of course, for these to join along. We're going to get started with the Hakutake Shiro Koji Shochu. This is 100% rice from Kumamoto. Sips beautifully on its own, but we're going to pour it over some rocks and enjoy. The cocktail that I decided to pair with this is in a daisy style cocktail. And a daisy style would be most identifiable as examples as margaritas or sidecars or cosmopolitans. Basically, you have your spirit, your fruit brandy, and then citrus, shaken, usually served up. So for the Paper Moon cocktail, I took Hakutake 100% rice shochu and blended it with a small measure of pear brandy, also with vanilla bean simple syrup and lemon juice. And for those of you who are interested in like making shochu cocktails at home, some points of advice that I would give, definitely scale back on the amount of citrus that you use, because like too much acid kind of butts heads with a lot of shochu styles, and you kind of lose those beautiful flavor nuances. All right. So yeah, the Paper Moon. Enjoy it over rocks. Give it a little shake to get the citrus all integrated, and pour it over rocks and enjoy. The next cocktail, or next shochu we have here is Ichiko Frasco. This is one of their top shelf expressions. 100% Muji barley shochu from Oita. This one right here just kind of jumps out of the glass. It's very, very fruit forward. Not to be confused with sweet, but it's very melon driven, a little peppery. It just bursts out of the glass like a bouquet. I decided to pair this spin this into a martini variation of sorts called the Jazz Lingo. So what I find really fun about this one is it's actually really tasty at room temp. This is a blend of, definitely pour it over ice and then save some for room temp just so you get a little difference of the two. But the Jazz Lingo is made up of Ichiko Frasco as the driving force, a little bit of dry vermouth, a teaspoon of manzanilla sherry, and a 1/4 ounce of a high-proof tincture that I made with cocoa butter infused into it. And there's also winter melon bitters and grapefruit peel. So you get notes of cocoa, melon, grapefruit all in one. And it's a little spirit forward, but the beauty of this is it's a very sessionable martini style cocktail. So it might attract those who would prefer like a 50-50 martini or a reverse vermouth, 2-to-1 vermouth to spirit martini variation. All right. Next up, the only black koji expression of the 4, Manzun Imo Shochu, 100%, or I'm sorry, it's a blend of rice and sweet potato, but sweet potato is definitely, it jumps out of the glass. So pour a little bit of this over the rocks. This one here's from Kagoshima. And for this cocktail, we decided to have a little more fun packaging in the style. We wanted to do a take on a classic chuhai. Basically, a chuhai is shochu topped with soda water as a highball. And so we made a canned variation with house-made and carbonated celery, shiso, and apple soda with the emo shochu. So feel free to crack it open if it's cold enough. You probably don't need any ice with it to enjoy it. But the beautiful thing about shochu as a highball, as a carbonated highball, it like really brings out the funk. It just like integrates those oils and just comes into or turns into a totally different flavor. But it gets kind of this carrot kind of plummy note to it that I really, really enjoy. So yeah, next up is the wild card of the bunch, Beniotome. This is something that I like to show off to a lot of bartender friends because it's super unique. It is distilled with wheat, rice, and just like a 10% measure of sesame. But that sesame really is prominent in this expression. So it's great on its own. It's great on the rocks. It is magnificent as an oyawari with a little bit of hot water. Definitely helps beat this crazy cold weather we got going on here in New York. Now, in the cocktail that we decided to express this with, it's called the Fukuoka Surf Club. So I wanted to go kind of a tiki tropical pina colada variation with this. And we made this with Beniotome, with sake kasu instead of coconut. Sake kasu, basically remnants of sake production, the leftover rice. Kind of gives it that opaque kind of coconutty look to it. with a small measure of pineapple juice, cucumber juice, lemon, and lime, and a pinch of salt. So hopefully this can be a little tropical island getaway for you in a glass. All right. So yeah, that's those are the cocktails we have. I hope you enjoy. I hope you share them, and I hope you have fun mixing these into cocktails yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. I mean, it looks amazing. I haven't had a chance to crack them open yet, but I cannot wait. I saw George back there already trying some. Cheers, guys. Come by. So we're going to open up the floor since we have some time. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or put them in the Q&A, and we'll try to answer any questions that you have. In the meantime, I do have a question for you guys at the thirds team there. You guys, what do you think as the challenges do you see that to introduce shochu to the sort of unexperienced or someone who has never tried it? What's the pushback that you get when you try to introduce the shochu?
From a cocktail point of view, I don't know so much a challenge rather than we have a really unique way of making things fun, and whether it's arriving to the table with a big bottle saying, hey, I think you should try this, and just like kind of introducing people into something, nudging them out of their comfort zone just a little bit. But from a cocktail point of view, we've seen a lot of success employing like a split base. That means like we'll have cocktails with made with rum and barley shochu all in one cocktail, or mezcal and emo shochu, and they'll do really well. Like take something familiar but kind of nudge them out of their comfort zone just a little bit to something that they haven't explored before. And we've had a lot of success with that, I think.
Yeah, I would also just add that I forgot to mention this restaurant Rule of Thirds. It's really our kind of the inspiration we drew on was really on izakaya culture and cuisine, and that type of experience of coming together around a table with friends to have a lot of food and a lot of drinks. And the beverage program here, I mean, Brian does an amazing job with the cocktails and the spirits, and my background and my passion is more for nihonshu, sake, and wine. And the way I see the tablescape set up here for an ideal meal at Rule of Thirds is with multiple glasses on the table at once. And so trying to encourage people to not be shy, to start with a cocktail and then work your way through all the different sections of the menu. And it's great to have a carafe with sake on the table while you're having that glass of wine. And cocktails, wine, and sake are more familiar to most of our customers than shochu. So the great benefit that shochu has is so many different ways to experience it. As Ueno-san explained, a lot of the traditional preparations and wari, highballs, and cocktails really, opens up a lot more opportunity for shochu to fit in at the right moment of the meal or at the right moment of the celebration, whatever it is. So I think it's in general, I think it's that trying to break down that barrier against having to stick to one thing throughout the entire meal or stick to one thing for just one course. And that's part of the beauty. Getting to taste all of these different dishes that JT have here, because that's how we like it to be on the table. It's not one after another, but all together and kind of jumping back and forth.
Right. So there's so much versatility that you can showcase and be flexible with and kind of move in any direction to essentially really fit anyone's palate and be kind of exciting through a movement throughout the course of your meal, I guess. So, and I know you're talking about the large bottles, and through the chat, we've had a lot of rally cry for ishobin. So I think we want to get more of those 1.8 liters out on the table than out on the floors as soon as we're all together dining. So I think we're all on the same page in that respect. There's a question actually for Brian and George from Taiko. She's asking how you guys discover new shochu.
Maxwell? Yeah, Maxwell. Shout out to Maxwell.
Good job, Maxwell. You're doing your job right.
Come by.
Maxwell, and also Jamie Graves, who's also on this call, has for JT and I, who have known and worked with Jamie for years and years, has been somebody who's been really instrumental in cracking open the world of Japanese beverage for us. So certainly we rely on and lean on our vendors and distributors to to keep us abreast of what's new, what's available, and then of course once we're able to, it's travel to Japan that's really where you discover a lot of things that you get very jealous that you can't have here. But hopefully these new import regulations are going to help bring some of those hidden goodies over across the Pacific. So yeah, just open mind and word of mouth, I think, is the best. What I would say.
Absolutely.
Thank you, appreciate that. We do have a question about Beni Otome in New England. I'm not sure who distributes the Beni Otome in New England area.
山崎さん、紅乙女のごま焼酎ですけど、このニューイングランドエリア、ニューヨークニューイングランドエリアのディストリビューターはどちらですかっていう質問です。
ですね、JFC さんですね。
はい、例えばマサチューセッツとかコネチカットとかディストリビューターの会社ってご存知ですか？
そうですね、今日ご紹介いただいたやつっていうのは全米JFC さん全部カバーしていただいてますので、
そこから先ですね。So the importer is the JFC for the Beni Otome is JFC.
Thank you.
So George and Brian, we just had a question come in from James Harris, and he wanted to know what aspects of shochu has resonated the most with the American market, given your purview into that.
Well, I don't know if I can speak to the American market. I can speak to Rural Thirds customers, but here I think probably, well, I'll start with what's been the most surprising, and for me, what I've been probably most excited to present as introduction to shochu, which is oiwari. I think serving shochu with a little bit of warm water, especially over the fall and winter when we were restricted to just outdoor dining. I think just the level of comfort that you can provide with a warm spirited beverage is amazing, and not something you find in the Western spirits. Although I've heard there's some tradition within Amaro with warm water, something that as well. So I think finding, again, along with food, the way to experience shochu with food is always a great gateway. Brian probably has some more.
I mean, I think you nailed it. I mean, we've had a lot of success with shochu in our cocktails. It definitely helps. We double down on the presentation side of a lot of our cocktail program, like very, very loud garnishes and cocktail vessels and presentations, and it tends to have that sizzling fajita effect when it walks down the room. Like I don't care what that is, I'll have it, and it's like a shochu based martini. And you're like, oh, didn't know I'd like this so much. But I think getting your foot in the door, with the visual presentation is really fun, but also just throwing it on the menu with confidence, definitely raises questions. But we've seen a lot of success with our casual alter ego program called Yaki Tiki, where we've blended some shochu with tiki cocktails, kind of like what you see at the Fukuoka Surf Club cocktail. But yeah, just I think it just basically goes to taking something familiar and nudging them a little bit out of the comfort zone, just a smidge. But yeah, I hope that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, I'll also share another tool that for us, I think we've thought a lot about presentation, and folks are familiar with sake, more familiar with sake and picking out your sake cup. So we had some really talented local potters create a whole set of custom sake cups. And after that initial run, and thinking about how we were going to present shochu, we asked them to make some jumbo versions. So, I think just showing that shochu has its place and its own distinctive experience that you can have with however you're drinking it or pairing it is how we've approached it here, is to really give it its own platform.
Right, amazing. Those cups are pretty awesome. Thanks so much. One last question before we wrap this up. Manzen-san and Yamazaki-san, with the new rules of the bottling for USA market, can we expect new shochus from your distilleries to come into the USA?
山崎さんとマンデンさんに質問ですけども、先ほど容量規制、焼酎の容量規制がなくなって720ミリとか1.8リットルが入るようになりますけども、新たな焼酎をアメリカに投入する計画はありますか？
そうですね。私たちは今、1.75 の万全しか出してないんですけれども、まだ、日本の流通で、このような木麹の万全という焼酎だったり、これは白麹なんですけど、こういう焼酎もありますので、将来的には出していきたいという思いがあるんですけれども、今年がちょっと芋がちょっと不作な年でしたので、何ですかね、すぐとはいかないんですけれども、やはり将来的にはいろんな方に飲んでいただきたいなという思いがありますね。
Okay, we'll answer with the Mr. Manzen first. Yes, we have intention to bring in the new products. One that he first showed is Manzenya, which is brewed with kikoji. And then also the もう一つ何でしたっけ、マネさん、すみません。二つ目は。
これ、マナズルという焼酎もあります。
Manazuru. We hope to bring this to market. However, this year, the harvest of emo was a little bit short. So we may not be able to export right away, but we look forward to doing it. じゃあ、山崎さん、すみません。よろしくお願いします。
ですね、今まで今日ご紹介いただいたごま焼酎っていうのはもう15年ぐらい前に出させていただいてですね、これしかなかったんですけども、今年インポーターがちょっと違うんですけども、ハードリカーを初めてアメリカの市場に出させていただきました。これは25度のごま焼酎と、あと40度の麦焼酎ですね。これは樽貯蔵の方で、9月ぐらいからアメリカの方で販売をいただいてます。
それ、輸入者はどちらですか？
これはですね、アイコインポーターっていうところとやらせてもらってます。
アイコインポーターですね。Okay, so the Benio Tome that we introduced today has been sold in the United States for over 15 years, but we just launched a new shochu into the market last September through Aiko International, and we have 50 proof Benio Tome, and then the 80 proof Mugi shochu also.
Great, thank you so much. So I think we apologize, we ran a little bit over, but thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you for spending this time. Thank you to the Consulate for putting this all together for us and bringing us all together, and for all the distillers for joining us at this time. I know it's very early in the morning, but thank you to Ueno-san, Maxwell, everybody for joining us, and the Rule of Thirds team for making these amazing cocktails and food pairings. If you're in Brooklyn, everybody out there, go check out their space. They have a gorgeous outdoor space. They also do takeout and delivery and those gorgeous canned cocktails, so check them out. And lastly, at the end, you'll see here, please follow everybody on Instagram and see what they're up to. And at the end of this, you'll check out Zoom, and you'll be navigated over to a survey. If you do have a few minutes, we really appreciate if you fill out the survey. It helps us keep bringing back these kind of content to you in these events. So please fill that out if you have a chance. But thank you so much, everybody. for being part of this. Is really special. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
乾
guys.
杯ありがとう。
ありがとうね、みんな。Thank you.
Thank you. ありがとうございました。